Go right ahead.
Okay. So, where last we left everybody, you had agreed to a deal with the Dark Lady, agreeing to find Dr. Otto Octavius, who had apparently stolen the Winds of Fate, and promised to return to him, alive if possible, to her for her to mete out her own personal justice. After agreeing to this, you began to go on your way, making your way northward, intending on returning to Red Larch, perhaps for some R&R to take care of some business. Sir Bradford went on ahead of you, trying to get things situated there. While you decided to take a rest, you were ambushed by a night hag who had absconded with both Tuck as well as the body of Sir Edward Brock. After examining the site, you followed his trail into a nearby forest, whereupon you came upon a shrine of Maliki. Dr. Kirk Connors made a prayer at the shrine, which seemed to summon a golden stag, upon which allowed Dr. Connors to ride it, and took you to the location of an old site of elven ruins. Hidden below was the hag's lair. Tuck almost had his manhood chopped off, but successfully managed to wiggle his way out and around and away from the hag before she could manage to get it. She tried to restrict his movement just enough to get the deed done using something called a mind seeker, I think is what the title of it was. A mind witness, excuse me. Something that severely restricts. It's something of a minor beholder, if you will. She happened to have two of them. Before Tuck could be seriously injured, he managed to run away, encountering the party on the process. In the midst of the skirmish, you came out successful and looted her lair, and you found a mysterious note suggesting that the person who wanted this was an individual who only goes by the name GS. You drew a few cards from the deck of many things, most of it to your benefit. And one thing I forgot is Sir Bradford shared with you the first time he met Marcus, Will's mentor, and some of the history behind the prophecy of the three. Upon exiting the ruins, the night air has grown cold, and there is a heavy mist that hangs around the ruins and the forest itself. You have exited the ruins, and amidst this mist, you see, emanating from the ruins, from this mist rather, is the shadow of what looks like a Dragonborn Palladin. The Paladin is wearing burnished half-plate armor, and it looks like it's seen its fair share of battles. He walked up to you as you walked out of this tomb with your Dr. Connor carrying the head of this hag, and he said, "Who the hell are you guys?"
Well, before that happens, hey Will, you want to draw any cards?
Nope, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case,
Perhaps
We're
our
the Dragonborn.
I tempt fate plenty without needing to resort to that.
perhaps the traveler on the road would like to draw some cards.
I'm far too much of a cynic. Besides, after all the great stuff that happened to you guys with your draws last week, I'll get imprisoned.
I'll draw my bow and say to the Dragonborn, "Ho there! We are the Diamond Bears. Be you friend or foe?"
That depends. Will you put down that bow?
Ha! Challenged.
What was that, Miles?
I said, "No. Not until he tells us what his plans are and why he's here."
I'm just heading out for a little adventure. What about
Be
you?
you goodly, we mean you no harm.
I have no intentions of any quarrels with you folk.
I'll put my bow away.
But much appreciated.
I suddenly remember something and draw the bow again. Do you have any compasses?
I kind of give him a funny look and say, no. And if I did, I'm not sure I'd give it to you.
Now that's fine. We don't like compasses in this party. I'll put my bow back.
You give them a strange look, kind of
Yes.
with your right eye raised a little bit. Like, this is the strangest group of individuals you've ever had the pleasure, perhaps a strong word, of ever stumbling across.
Yes, we somewhat frown upon anything that points north for a purpose.
Yet we travel with this monk who is always pointing at things.
Glory, are you saying something? Because I'm seeing you light up in Discord and I'm not hearing anything. And nothing's coming through.
Take that as a hard maybe. And he's gone.
Is there any signs, symbols, or anything to indicate what you say a paladin? What kind of paladin, or who he might be dedicated to?
On the shield that you can see a symbol that that looks a little bit like a raven.
Yes.
Here
There you are.
There we are. It wasn't important. I was joking about my penis pointing north.
That's the point.
You're quite a long ways from the road for someone just looking for an adventure. Is there any special reason you're here in the
You did say forest, right?
forest? Yeah, I said forest.
I'm
You're lighting up, but we
I'm
can't
in
see.
search of an object.
We already told the hag she couldn't have it. Will turns to Tuck and says, "What is it with that thing anyway?"
May I ask what thing you were talking about?
His thing.
Silently, I look at him and swing my cock in my hand.
Yes, I have no interest in your appendage. Good.
So that's the way it is with Dragonborn.
So what is this object you speak of?
Not sure if I feel comfortable disclosing such information to people I don't know.
Go ahead and make an insight check for me.
Who?
Smock.
Insight check, you said?
Yep. They're a strange bunch of individuals. There's nothing that immediately belies the sense that they're trying to... They seem to you like they're just curious.
Well, perhaps we've skipped one of the vital questions. Before getting to your quest, what is your name?
My name is Draxxan. I'm a Dragonborn.
Oh, look.
You all can see that.
Another one with scales.
Looks like I'm about as hard as your friend is over there.
You can see this gaggle of individuals before you is made up of what looks like a half-elven bard, two wood elves, one of them being mostly naked, and the other one being dressed in what looks like druidic robes. His looks far more well-kept. You can also see what looks like a human wizard, and what looks like a lizardman dressed in some sort of lab coat. And he has a little crab kind of walking by his side.
By little, he means the biggest crab you've ever seen, because it's a giant crab.
we're the Diamond Bears, and we're not in between quests. We just got waylaid trying to rescue our friend here, and we are going to proceed to Red Larch shortly. Um, do you require any assistance?
I could always use some traveling companions if you guys don't mind another.
Well, which way are you heading?
I do not know at the current moment. I'm just kind of looking.
So you're just wandering around?
For the time being, yes.
Draxxan, you instinctively kind of look around, and as you get a sense of your surroundings, you notice that the silver ring around your finger begins to glow more as it points north.
Burn it with fire!
Is that a compass?
Well, I guess I'm being told where I need to head. I need to head north. You guys said you don't like things that point north, and I'm currently pointing north.
Kent points his wand of wonder at Draxxan and says, "Just keep that ring the fuck away from our magic items,
You may not touch anything we own.
and we will gladly accompany you as we are headed that way as well."
Kent,
I have
make
no
an
need. I have no.
Kent,
Sorry.
make an intimidation check. Draxxan, make a insight check. This wizard means business, yo.
I have no intentions of bothering your items, fellow travelers.
You quickly kind of hide the ring amidst your other hand.
In that case, let's set off.
I'll just put this back in my pocket for the time being.
How many people can we fit on the carpet? I mean, is it the deluxe model? You know, like 4 doors and a bunch of room in the back.
The crab's gonna have to sit on the doctor's lap.
That's fine. All right. Everyone get on the carpet like normal. Pile in.
We lack seatbelts, so please hold on.
They move you to stand on what looks like a very, very large rug.
Well, I put my hand out to you and I say, "Do you trust me?"
Will contemplates how high they can get and kick him off the rug.
I can show you the world.
Are you talking to me or are you talking to somebody else?
He's talking to you. Of course, he's talking to
Okay.
you.
I figured. I just
shaking
missed
his
that
head.
detail.
Even
I
I shift uneasily
kinda
at this
give it-
conversation.
I'm kind of giving him a weird look and just kind of say whatever and hold out my hand.
Will starts plucking a tune on his lute. La, da, 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 da.
He gingerly takes your hand as he escorts you lovingly onto this rug.
And then before he sits down, I give him a nice big smack on the right butt cheek.
Who'd
Let's
have
be
thought reptile love?
Scales on scales.
I hear this
You guys
chafing.
need a tiny hut.
Great. Now it's going to sound like crickets every time we make camp.
What was that, Crow?
I was saying, do you two need a tiny little hut?
I don't want us to go missing, so we should probably just go.
Okay.
As we travel on this carpet, since I'm sitting either behind or next to, I'm sorry, Miles. What was your character's name?
Kurt Connors, sir, at your
Kurt
service.
Connors. I'm going to stroke his tail the entire way, very slowly.
I will not allow that. We'll move away.
Yes, Will hit you over the head lightly with his lute and say, "Stop that."
Where's this spray bottle?
You're creeping out the monk, and when that starts to happen, I know you've crossed the line.
We should be on our way.
Okay.
So-
Where are we going?
Red Larch, just to the north and east, slightly. We could go out and follow the road, or we could just try to fly as the bird flies.
I think
From where
there's.
you are,
Oh, sorry.
from where you are at the south of the Westwood, it'll take you about 3 days by carpet to get to Red Larch.
Holy shit. Okay.
So
Maybe
full
two if
rest
you
while
really
we're flying.
What do you say? Sorry.
Full
About 2
rest
days
while
if you're
we're
really looking.
flying.
Full, yeah. Okay. So if that's what you're doing, I'll save you a little bit of time. You're able to get the full rest without any inhibition. So feel free to restore your characters.
Okay.
Is there anything else over the course of this travel that you specifically would like to do?
Killy, I would like to learn a few of the spells in that spell book that we acquired earlier in the campaign. However,
Mhm.
I have not written down what they were, but it doesn't have to happen this session, assuming we all survive. But I'll go back and listen to the tapes. That's the only thing I would like to do.
Okay.
just-
Let me. Do you happen to remember where you got it?
It was the hoarding, the hoarder in Red
Oh.
Larch.
Okay. So that I have it written down right here. Was big. Cause fear.
Mm-hmm.
Chromatic orb.
Mm-hmm.
Comprehend languages.
Mm-hmm.
Grease. Excuse me.
All right, I know those two.
Disguise self.
Mm-hmm.
Ray of enfeeblement.
Mm-hmm.
Ray of sickness.
Mm-hmm.
Acid arrow. Alter self. Detect thoughts. And identify.
Acid arrow would be the one I would go for right this second.
Okay.
Now I have to pull up my player's handbook real fast.
All right. So acid arrow is second level.
Mm-hmm.
And
We have that other spell book that has about a dozen or so spells in it too.
evocation.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. That is an evocation spell. So the time to copy the spell is halved. This is the magic cost. So
All right.
the base cold cost is 50 gold for each level of the spell. So at second level it will be 100 gold, but it's reduced to 50 because it's an evocation spell.
Okay. So let me just subtract that.
50 gold out of your thousands and thousands.
Well, we'll get.
Are you gonna break the bank?
We'll get to that when we get back to town. I'm just doing that on the raw gold that I have on me, and I
Right.
subtracted that already.
Okay.
And I have
I'll
no
just-
idea how to add that.
I'll just drag it in right now. It's going to be Melf's acid arrow because that's what's in the thing, but it's the same essential spell.
I know Melf's acid arrow well.
So you now have access to that spell. You can, over the course of this travel, you can prepare your spells however you wish.
Huh. While we travel, I'll practice the bagpipes. Apparently, I've had the whole time. 24. Ah, I'm amazing. I'm the best.
Will, you are impressed by Dr. Connors, who has traveled with you for so long, has taken what is normally an annoying device when played in the hands of someone who's terrible, and has something of a savant at it.
Will applaud and say, "Bravo, bravo! Who knew such wonderful talents led beneath that scaly exterior?"
Not me.
He was not often done with the bagpipes, but perhaps we could work out a duet of some kind. We could accompany each other.
Sure, I'm down.
Yes. We could start if we all could learn an instrument. We could start a band.
Then we could quit our jobs of adventuring and just play for an inn.
Yeah.
Be a touring band.
Yes, playing with someone else is always better than playing with yourself.
Ba-da-ba.
All right.
I look at Will and shrug.
Is there a brothel on the way? That's about the only thing I'm interested in.
There won't be anything along this road until we get to Red Larch. It's just it's just a barren road, I think. There's no cities or towns.
I didn't want to assume. It could be some random hut out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Pussy's pussy.
Spoken like a true paladin.
Pussy's pussy.
All right. Is there anything else you guys are doing over the course of your travel?
I guess I'll try to get to know Draxxan a little more, but other than that, nah, we can just travel straight there. I kind of want to get there, make sure Sir Bradford's still there and not left without us like I asked him to.
Sure. What do you ask, Draxxan?
Oh, well, he said he's just like out here adventuring. I don't know. I mean, it's very convenient that he showed up outside the hag's cave, but I'll be cautiously curious as to why he was there at that particular time, and about his life, what made him become a paladin, how he ended up in the woods, any of those things. But of course, he doesn't have to share.
Well, as I stated, I was just I'm out out adventuring, looking for items, and didn't really have a path until I met you lovely gentlemen and creatures, and my ring pointed north, and you guys hate north, but yet you're still going with me, so it's gonna be a good time.
Well, we'll be clear. You're coming with us. We're not going with you.
I mean, let's just say we're traveling together, just conveniently in the same direction.
Amen. All right. Well, anyone with scales is a friend to me until they're not. So let's take off.
Oh yeah.
I'll give him the backstory of the Diamond Bear so he knows about what we've done and what we plan to do. Well,
He briefly
kind of
gives
what we
you
plan to do.
he gives you a brief story of a couple of adventures where they've traveled into a number of into their first adventure where they traveled into a ruins and beat this weird druid who was guarding this wicked tree, and apparently a part of that tree is what makes up the wizard's staff. He tells you about where they wandered into some old dwarven ruins and they fought a dragon and got some treasure. And he says within these hills there's a bunch of there's this big old temple hidden underneath the hills, and there's a bunch of these elemental cult guys, and they've taken out 2 of them so far, but they got to work on taking out the other 2 yet.
Oh yeah, I'll show off Iron Fang and Windvane.
He shows you
But you can't touch them.
shows you what looks like a war pick that is I have to pull up the page for it. He shows you a war pick that's been very finely made. It almost looks dwarven. It's been made out of what looks like a very burnished piece of iron, but the iron seems to be very, very thin, and it's inscribed with ancient-looking runes. And then he shows you what looks like a big spear that is made of that same sort of burnished iron, and has dark sapphires inlaid into it.
Very nice weaponry.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? All right. So, over the course of your 2 days of travel, it has been overcast, and there has been it's been fairly cloudy. It's very overcast, and coincidentally, for the first time in what seems like a long time, the weather has begun to get colder. And for the last day and a half of travel, it's gotten cold enough and overcast enough that there's actually begun to be a light snowfall on the ground. And by the time you arrive at Red Larch, there's maybe about a foot, maybe an inch, maybe about an inch and a half of snow on the ground. And as you arrive in town, there's a couple of things that catch your eye. As you enter in from the long road on the south, you can see, first off, within this circular area over here, there's a lot of shops that have been set up, and it is far more lively than the last time you have been here. There are a number of vendors within carts that are selling a great number of things, mostly food from the looks of it, and you can smell pies, and can see more than a few vendors selling what looks like crumble cake, as well as what looks to be maybe some crafted toys, maybe some pictures, maybe some paintings. And amidst the slight fallen snow on the ground, you can see a number of houses decorated in very festive colors, including red and orange and yellow and green. And in the center of town itself, there has been placed what looks like a large tree decorated in ornaments and tinsel. And overhead, on an arch that has been put in place, is a sign that says, "Happy High Harvest Tide." The second thing you notice is that there seems to be a guard presence along the roads. There haven't been guards here before. Not that you've seen, anyway. But amidst the guard presence here that is keeping an eye on things, there seems to be a fairly festive, musical tone to everyone here.
So, do we feel like this snow and cold weather is just natural nature, like this is the time of year when it'd be cold, or is it does it go back to the weird weather nature presence that the crowd pointed out and that I had seen before?
Make a survival check.
Survival? Okay.
You, based on your own familiarity with the seasons and the time of year that it is, you know it starts to get cold. It's not usually snow on the ground. And between having it shift between the heavy rain and the bright but overbearing heat, this is the first time it's really gotten cold. It's not unusual at all for this time of year. It's not usually so cold that there's snow on the ground. So it's a lot like a normal dry winter in the Midwest of the United States, where there's snow on the ground one week and then it's blistering hot on the next.
And I don't have any idea what that's like, so. Okay.
But you still get the sense that something's off about the weather all the same.
So have we landed, or are we still just flying in and noticing things?
You probably, we'll say for the sake of this, in order to keep people from being too scared of this, you probably landed about 100 feet away, and then just walked along the long road.
That's smart. Okay.
What are the people doing? What's the general mood? Are they rolling with it? Is it just the weather?
I think they said it was pretty festive, right?
It seems pretty festive. People seem to be generally rolling with it. At the very least, they're taking the opportunity to celebrate this festival. That being said, the guard duty in the area, you're not quite sure.
Would it be, I don't know, bad form to approach a guard and start asking questions of him? Like, is that doable, or do they look like pretty gruff and like they don't want to be bothered?
No, that's pretty much a trope. You go right ahead.
Make an insight check.
Oh shit.
If it were Baldur's Gate, they'll only say, move along, unless they have something to tell you.
So there's a couple of guards on the very edge of town that look like they don't want to be there. They were rather be inside chewing on some cake, drinking some mead. As you get further into town, at some of the guards who are just kind of keeping an eye on some of the carts and everything, they look like maybe they're a little more open.
Yeah, we'll approach those ones.
Okay.
The more open ones.
You approach a man dressed in what looks to be some heavier leathers. He's wearing what looks like a fur coat to try to help himself within the warm. He's not wearing a helmet. And he's carrying what looks like a well-crafted spear, but nothing particularly ornate. And he looks at you and he says, "Hello, citizen. Enjoying yourself?"
Hello, sir. Yes, we've just come into town.
Yeah, welcome. How can I help you?
It's a very festive time of year, I see. What is it we're celebrating?
Why, it's High Harvest Tide. Many of the farmers and folks around here are getting ready for the winter, celebrating the harvest.
Oh,
Does high harvest time come so early, usually?
You would know that it always falls between the months of Elent and Marpenoth. Basically, it's basically the fall equinox.
I was gonna say you couldn't make up any words, and I'd have been like, okay. Okay. I asked the guard, um, is there a Gregor real estate office in town?
yeah.
He says, well, you would have to go to the fuck. What is it? You would have to go to the constable.
Can you point
For
me in
about
that
our
direction?
He points over to a set of houses over in this direction.
Damn
Okay.
it. That's what I was gonna do too, Kent. I should have just bought that house before. It would be worth a million right now. Oh, with all these people in town. Anyways,
I have other. I lean over to you and I say, I have other plans.
I'm sure. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
And it is at this point where I actually call into evidence the recording that Killy made the other day. If I may be so bold, 25 gems worth 2,000 gold apiece is what was stated.
Yep, for a total of 25,000 gold.
Oh shit.
How does 25 times 2 equal 25,000?
25 pieces of gold worth 2,000 gold apiece.
Gems?
It's 50,000.
Gems. Hang on, let me pull up the wording.
He's trying to hard sell it.
Oh shit.
Okay, there are many things. Gem.
Half a double.
25 pieces of jewelry. 25 pieces of jewelry worth 2,000 gold apiece.
And 25 times 2 is?
25
Half a
times
double.
2,000.
It's
2,000
still not...
times 25.
Is?
50,000.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'll be off to see the constable.
Okay.
And
All right.
I'll wander that
You-
way.
Okay.
And as
You make
as
your
we're
way-
looking, hey, as we're wandering through this city, I'm just kind of looking around, taking it all in because this is all new to me.
After the long period of time that you have spent elsewhere, this is the first time you've stepped into anywhere that feels joyous.
It does feel quite nice.
I'm gonna ask the guard about the I'm gonna ask the guard about the increased guard presence and just see what he has to say about that.
He says, well, given some warnings that the massed council of Waterdeep has received, we've been instructed to secure the area in case of invasion.
Like threats? You say
Yes.
warnings, but is that like counterintelligence or people are threatening to invade you?
After the attack in Womford, the nobles in Waterdeep feared for the outlying towns.
I just tried to right-click the map to go to go to a larger map. God damn it! Oh, so who's been invading them or attacking them? Is that something you've already told us, Killy, or did I miss it?
If you ask him, he'll say, based on our reports, it may be a collection of individuals who may have conspired in cultist activity. But don't worry, we're here to ensure safety during the holiday.
Were these some
recall-
maybe cultists? Were they
you'll recall
elementalists?
You recall that when he mentions Womford, that you arrived at the city of Womford, and it was on fire.
Oh, that's the one. Okay, right, gotcha. I will not say anything else to make him fear his job, and just be like, "Son of a bitch," under my breath, and then leave.
Okay. So you make your way to the constable?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with him.
Okay. You make your way to the constable in the series of houses. You can see a couple of small houses around that look like there's nobody currently living in them. There's a larger house next to them. As you enter in, you can see what looks to be a gruff-looking man who is he looks a little on the older side, maybe in his late 40s, but he's otherwise looks pretty well built. You think he might have been a really good fighter, perhaps a knight in his day. He's in the middle of eating a little bit of crumb cake and drinking a little bit of mead, reading over some papers as you walk into the building. You get the fresh falling snow kind of off your boots as you wander in. He says, Can I help you?
Yes, sir. My name is Kentarn. I am a member of the Diamond Bears Adventuring Guild. What is
Yes.
your name?
He stands up, extends his hand out for a handshake, and he says, Harburg Turmathil, excuse me, Harburg Turmathil, Harburg Toothmarillar, there it is.
If
Harburg Toothmarillar.
that is a wonderful name, sir.
I'll call him Hal.
My friends call me Hal.
Great, great.
Constable Hal, I was told that if one was looking at, purchasing a large amount of real estate, or even a small amount of real estate, that the constable's office would be, where I might start.
He says, well, we have a number of smaller homes up for sale if you're interested in moving in.
Well, here's the issue. While the homes here are splendid, and any man would be lucky to own one and live in this quaint and awesome little village, I was thinking about something bigger.
What you have in mind?
Well, my friends and I we've traveled all over this vicinity, and we may have been like the first to come across the ruins of Womford. And we reported that. Mhm.
He kind of jumps up as you mention the name of Wampert that you've been by, and he says, "What do you know?"
Well, in our travels, while we were helping our monk companion, we happened to pass by the town, and it looked as if it had been firebombed. There were cultist robes everywhere. And from what we could tell, no survivors. We did a small investigation, but we could not find anyone living. It looked to us as if like a dragon had sacked the town.
Dragon, along with cultists.
Well,
Intriguing.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine anything would have done that much damage on such a massive scale, lest it be a dragon. I mean, we're not talking about a Tarrasque here.
Gods. He kind of slumps back down in his chair and he says, "Who did you say you were again?"
Kentarn of the Diamond Bears.
The Diamond Bears. You
Mhm.
must be the venturing party that helps Sir Bradford.
Yes, sir, that would be us.
I think he mentioned it to me once. Yeah. So, what is it you have in mind for a house?
Well, during our adventures, we've come across a modest amount of wealth. And this is what I would like to do. I know that that Womford has been wiped out. And I'm sure that it would take much more than my meager um, possessions to help fund a resettlement of Womford. But who would I speak to if I wanted to buy the land that was once Womford? Or a good portion of it?
You want to buy the entire site?
Well, not the entire site. I would like to buy a chunk of land for myself and then perhaps help redevelop it.
He says, Well, the development costs, I suppose, would be on you, depending on what it is you plan to do with it. As for the land itself, it's been put to the torch, and as it's mostly going through proceedings and trying to find any survivors, anyone who knows what happened. Um, there's a few more days, I believe, where they're trying to map out and draw whatever clues they can from the wreckage, but after that, I'm sure there's a significant portion of the area you could purchase, but to be quite honest, I'm surprised you would want to build on top of a place that was just burned to the ground.
Sir, there are many things in this world that I do not like to see. I don't like to see people stuck in chains. I don't like to see innocents slaughtered, unless maybe they're monsters. But I believe we all know what that means, or we all are on the same page there.
I won't want a fallen orc, he says.
Okay. But if if you could get in touch with the appropriate um what is the word I was authorities, I would like to see if we could, you know, maybe set something aside and or get the wheels moving as far as repatriating that land with villagers and possibly, like I said, I'd like to maybe build a tower there once everything's all said and done. Um, and if the authorities were not too opposed, I'd like to maybe rename the town Kentarnville.
He
But
says, that's something you might have to take up with the nobleman. If you're so keen on buying a portion of it, I suppose we could sell. If you're looking to buy the entirety of the plot, it would cost you about 5,000 gold. For a fixed smaller section of the town, it would cost closer to perhaps maybe about 2,500 gold if you're looking to build maybe a tower, or 3,500 gold for a keep,
well, a keep
based on the average square footing.
a keep would be fine. Um, And, I would obviously build houses, around the town so that farmers and whatever, whoever would feel like that they down on their luck could move in. Um, I mean, if it's a question of union labor, I surely will meet with whatever guilds I have to,
He
secure that.
says, he pulls out a book and he says, well, this is based on average estimated costs. The actual cost will be determined upon completion of the project. As I said, I gave you the rough cost for the land itself. To build a settlement of towns and establish yourself as perhaps a leading instrument would require an agreement with the Watadavian nobles and the Master Lords of Waterdeep within their own secret committee. But upon approval, estimated costs can begin. It would cost about 5,000 gold to cover the entire plot of Wamford, and about perhaps another 5,000 gold to begin reconstruction of the town. And that would take about 90 days to cover construction of the keep itself, for area of the keep. You would probably be best served to simply buy the entirety of the town itself and clean it up, or if you're so inclined, you can buy a portion of the town away, just a little bit away from Mumford, as the Waterdavian nobles do what they can to clean up the ruins. That being said, your castle will be on the outskirts of ruins. That would cost you about 3,500 gold for the land, and the keep construction itself for a small castle averages about 50,000 gold. And that would take the better part of a little over 400 days.
I will settle for a small keep or a wizard tower for myself, but I will buy the plot of land. If you could start the ball rolling on this, it would be greatly appreciated, and come back to me. Anything under 40,000 should be fine. And I toss him a gem, and this is for you for helping out with this sale.
He says, I appreciate the offer, sir, but I'm legally not able to accept donations. And he hands the gem back to you.
Well, then accept my gratitude, sir.
Of course. Now, are you intending on placing a down payment for a section of the city or for a section of land away from the remains?
Well, right now I have 1,000 gold on me. I must see about converting some precious gems, but I can give you 1,000 to start.
He says, we can accept 1,000 as a down payment, and then from there, I just simply need to know what it is you're intending on purchasing.
The plot of Wamford and a plot for myself for a modest wizard's tower.
Okay, we'll put 500 gold down on each for the construction of both.
Sounds like
And
a plan.
he'll mark it down. He'll begin to draw a couple of papers. He'll hand it out for your signature, and he mentions, now, are these your co-signees? And he points at the rest of your party.
Well, I may build houses for them on the land as well. But as of right now, I don't need a cosigner. Believe it or not, my material wealth is fairly good. And he kind of opens his pack a little and
Okay.
just shows him the fact that, through his adventuring travels, he's like, this is what I have accumulated so far.
Okay, so the rest of you, especially you, Will, your financier, in case you didn't miss it on the original session, he pulled a card from the deck of many things and got himself a shit ton of wealth in the way of jewelry. And you guys watch him in conversation with the constable here in the midst of trying to basically buy this plot of land. Is there anything you guys are doing in the midst of all of this, or just kind of listening in?
Yeah, I watched the 12-minute video, not the whole 3-hour video. So I saw the drawing of the cards. Very entertaining. And yeah, I thought that was the best card drawn, actually. I thought that's a metric crap ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. And well done. Use of it. That's brilliant. As far as Will, what he's going to do, he's just going to look on with amusement while this is being negotiated, and then wander out and join the festivities. Will actually, if no one is playing, he will find a place to start playing, or if someone is playing, he will attempt to join them and add his talent to making it more festive. Try to get people dancing and into it. Maybe catch a maiden's eye. He's just into the whole festivities.
All right. Now, what about the rest of you in the midst of all of this? Discussion, are you just kind of hanging out with Kent, or are you wandering out?
Does it look like we're going to be? Does it look like we're going to be staying around here for a hot? Just by what's going on, do I get the feeling that we're going to be here for?
You get the feeling at the very least that Kent's going to be going through some paperwork.
So I guess I'm going to go kind of wander around town, maybe just kind of check out some things, see if I can't find anything of it.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
I'm waiting for Kent to be done so that I can also try to purchase something from the constable.
What about you, Tuck?
I'm just sitting out in the corner and enjoy this.
Okay. Now, as that's all going on, then, Kent, I would like you to go ahead and make a persuasion check with advantage as you show off your material wealth.
Okay. This ought to go swimmingly. Persuasion.
All right. He nods at your discretion as you mentioned that you do not need co-signees, and he begins to go through the remainder of your paperwork and putting his own personal seal on it as you work your way through. Now, as for the rest of you, Will, you wander out of the office and kind of in the midst of this fresh fallen snow, and you see a few kids kind of milling about. There's a few women, some halflings, some human, one or two half-elves that are milling about. You can see wandering up and down the street, there are a couple of guards, and on occasion there is a woman carrying some sort of bread basket that cries out, "Fresh bread! Fresh crumble cake! Baked this very morning! Happy high harvest tide!" And as you make your way out, you think the best place to get any sort of attention if you're going to put on some sort of performance in the midst of all of this is probably going to be the center tree in the center of town. So as you pull out your master's lute and begin to perform, go ahead and make a performance check.
All right, we'll do.
Okay. As you get into the festivities, you begin to play an old folk song that you remembered from your youth, and then you begin to strum it as wonderfully as you can remember it. It begins to catch the attention of a few of the children who stop in their play, as well as a few of the festive travelers as they wander up and down the road. And they kind of stop to listen in on this beautiful piece as you begin to master it. You come through with a final crescendo at the end, and there's much applause. And in the corner of your eye, you can make out Sir Bradford, who eyes you with a modicum of appreciation.
Oh, you found Sir Bradford.
Yep, Sir Bradford stops by in the audience to watch this performance.
Nice. Should we proceed with that conversation, or do you want to finish up?
Sorry, I was
first
talking into my mute button. Seeing Sir Bradford, I will try to the song that my master had been working on that I have recently finished upon his death. I will play that one.
Okay, you follow through with that one.
The store to me is about 3 hours away.
And you follow through with that one, and it's not quite that same sort of festive mood, which there was a few people off, and some of them began to kind of wander back into the festivities. A few people stayed to listen in, kind of intrigued by this song. And as you kind of finish that performance, you see Sir Bradford give a knowing nod.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
We'll segue right into Detroit Rock City.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. In the midst of this performance, then, Draxxan, you begin to wander around in the midst of all of these festivities. You see many, many people with bright smiles on their faces. Is there anything in particular that you would like to do, or anything you would like to search for?
Does it look like there's maybe a give me 2 seconds. Does it look like there's any sort of like jewelry shop or anybody that has any sort of items that would be of that nature?
As you wander around the area, you do notice that you don't notice that there's a jeweler's in town per se. However, as you wander around the farmer's market, you do see there is a stall of someone who is attempting to sell what looks like some handcrafted jewelry.
I'll walk over there and take a look at it.
Okay. You approach that cart. There's a couple of women who appear to be eyeing some sort of amulet with a ruby at the very end of it. As you approach, you can see what looks like an elven woman dressed in a fine but heavy blue robe with fur inlaid around the brim. She has long flowing blonde hair, and she looks up at you with a straight face. She's not smiling, and she says, "Yes, sir. How can I help you?"
I'm looking for an item. I wanted to see what your selection.
What is it you're looking for?
Looking for a sort of locket.
She moves. She takes out a couple of lockets as she kind of wanders through and begins to talk a little bit about her own craft on these lockets. And the lockets themselves are currently empty of anything inside of them. As you kind of shift around all of them, your ring doesn't react.
All right, and so I guess I'll walk away. I'll say good day, and enjoy the festivity.
Okay. You wander around the rest of the market. There's a couple of interesting things being sold at the market. You can see a couple of more interesting characters. There's sitting kind of in the muck and the grime. There is what looks like a half orc that's just surrounded by pickle jars. He's got his hand firmly stuck in one. He says, "Pickles, fresh pickles, right here." On another nearby cart that looks like it strolled into town, you can hear a woman cry out, "Oh, this painting is simply lovely. Tell me, sir, how much is it for this?" And you hear a gnome who's standing on a chair, or excuse me, a halfling standing on a chair behind the stall says, "Well, I think I'd be willing to part with that one for maybe about 30 gold. And there's all sorts of festivities going on here.
So I guess what I'll do is, since there doesn't seem to be any more stands that pique the interest of the item I'm looking for, I'm going to I guess take, since I'm not around any of the crew that I traveled here with, am I, at the moment?
Not at the moment. I will also
Okay.
add for your benefit that there seems to be, in the midst, especially towards the area of Cairn Road, a couple of contests that are going on between some of the guards and some of the patrons, and there seems to be some gold being bet on top of those.
I'll make my way over that way, but while I'm doing that, since there's a little bit of a walk around the corner, since I'm gonna kind of pull out my ring and see if it's kind of telling me.
You point at the ring, and it seems to glow as you face towards the west. But the glow is faint.
So the west is opposite of where
Excuse me, the east.
the betting is going.
East.
Okay.
My bad.
All right. So I'll continue to walk towards those the games.
Okay.
As you would say, and I'll kind of keep an eye on the ring, since none of the guys are with me, and they won't freak out if I've got it out. So I guess for the time being, I'll actually put it back on my finger and keep an eye on it.
Okay. The glow is faint. You get the sense that this locket you're looking for is still quite a distance away, and you're kind of getting the sense that maybe this locket isn't in town here.
I don't know if it matters at this point, but I guess since I'm not near any of them, they technically still don't know that what I'm actually looking for, because I never answered them earlier. So I guess we'll keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We'll roleplay it.
All right, I'm heading towards the games, I guess.
Okay. You can see there's a couple of games going on. There is a priestess, looks to be a human, who is engaged in some sort of dice game with a couple of patrons who come up and seem to drop gold on it. You can see there is a guard next to what appears to be an archery line. You can see there are 3 targets aligned with an arrow that has been kind of drawn within the snow with what looks like some sort of red dust or paint. And there are patrons lining up behind that and trying to fire arrows into the targets. There's another one that has a huge, looks like a Goliath, sitting at a table dressed in heavy leathers and a coat, who looks to be arm wrestling a bunch of rough-looking guys at a nearby table.
So I've got the option between a dice game, archery, it sounded like, and then arm wrestling.
Yep.
I like. I guess I'll take my chance at some arm.
Okay. We'll come back to you in a minute. As we come back to Kent, you finish signing the documents. You place your 1,000 gold down payment on for the remains of the village of Wamford, as well as a nearby section of land to build a wizard's tower. And you finish signing the documents. And that place is reserved for your benefit.
Just a few other questions real fast. Is there a bank in town? Constable.
He says there's not a bank in town per se. That being said, transactions do take place within the nearby governmental building.
Where would that be?
Just off. It's this building immediately to the right of this one.
I'm going to go to that.
He says, I'm afraid that the bank is closed for the holiday, however.
Ah, blast. Okay. Is it nighttime or daytime?
At this point in time, it's probably late in the morning.
I'm going to say to Will,
Not there.
Not there? Oh.
Will left.
Okay,
He's playing in the middle of the street.
I'm going to walk back outside then and say, thank you for all your help, Constable, and walk outside and see if I can find Will.
Okay, what about the rest of you, Tuck and Connors?
Yeah, if he's done with the constable, I want to buy some land.
Okay. He says, and what are you interested in, sir?
You said you had some houses for sale here. I think last time I checked, you said the going rate was something around 2,000 gold pieces. I was just wondering if that was still the case.
It is at the moment, yes.
Amazing. Well, I want to look through his listings and just, see if I can find one for me. We can make this easy or hard. I don't know how much role playing you want to do on this, but basically I want to buy a house somewhere and try to rent it to people.
Okay. You can buy the house outright. A smaller house, apartment size house, for about 2,000 gold, and then what you're rented out to someone is completely up to you.
how much would I assume upkeep is after I've bought it, since there's no longer a mortgage on the house? What would be just like standard upkeep?
Let me find out.
Okay. And how much would I need to like hire someone to, if something went wrong, they could call this person and have them fix it, so I don't have to be in town to fix it, like a super, basically, a landlord.
So for a the average cost per day of maintenance for something like that is gonna be about we'll say about 50 silver for every 10 days. It's not especially expensive to take care of. That being said, after every once in a while, I might have you roll a D100 to see if something happens.
I'm doing some cost effectiveness. You can go and do whatever Tuck's doing, and I'll let you know in 1 second.
Okay, Tuck, what are you up to?
When Kent leaves, I'm going to get up, stretch my legs, and head out and start wandering around town, seeing what's going on.
Okay. You wander around town. You can see, you can make out the same sort of games that Draxxan is kind of in the midst of kind of peering at. He's also kind of looking at this ring. You can see Will and Sir Bradford are in the midst of a conversation next to the large tree in the center of town. As you wander around, you can see a number of the shops have all sorts of sales going on in the midst of them, although the blacksmith and the leather shop seems to be relatively dim and otherwise unfestive. In the center of town, you can make out a familiar-looking figure sitting in a painting stand. In the midst of painting what looks like some snow-covered hills is a halfling that you remember by the name of Happy Bob.
I'm going to start heading over towards the games to see what's going on over there.
Okay. Let's go back to Will for a minute. Will, as you finish up your performance, and Sir Bradford is there, you'll come over and shake your hand, and he'll smile warmfully as he says, "I'm glad to see you made it all right. Was there any trouble along the road?"
Trouble? Well, I wouldn't know where to begin with the trouble we get ourselves into. Night hags, penis stealing conspiracies, Dragonborn Paladins, and that's just in the past 12 hours.
He kind of he stops in the midst of this questioning. He kind of does a double take. He looks that way, looks at you one more time, and he goes, "I left you alone for less than 3 days, and this happened?"
Yeah, it's a habit we've gotten into, Will says, kind of chuckling. He says, "Listen, do we need to be updating? I'm new to this whole Lord's Alliance thing. As important as it is, how often should we be providing updates?"
First off, he sighs as you mentioned this, and he says, "More like a master than I think you even realize." And then he says, as you ask about the Lord's Alliance, he says, "Well, I'm sort of the head dignitary here. I've been providing updates at this point, and based on your estimates provided earlier and my own, they've sent this guard detail under my command."
All right. Then, in that case, Will says he's going to bring him up to speed on all of the details he wasn't around for, notably the item politics between Ed Brock and his involvement in the Jantarum, and although I think we mentioned that to them before, and the Beyonce and the dragon, and what's going on with the hag.
Right. He was around for most of that. He left before the hag.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that he has all the information he needs.
Right. And he will share with you that he's begun investigation on the whereabouts of Dr. Otto Octavius, and they've snatched out a couple of possible leads. Unfortunately, there's nothing solid that's come up yet.
Yeah, that's a problem. Hopefully, one that resolves itself soon. For the meanwhile, I think Although I never know with this group. We're going to try to focus our efforts on finding and defeating those other two elemental priests.
All right. Now, in the midst of this conversation, then back to Draxxan. You approach what looks like this arm wrestling table, and as you approach, you approach the guard who's in the midst of this Goliath manages to push down what looks like a human dressed in chainmail armor, and as he gets up, kind of grabbing his wrist, he goes, "Fucking assholes on steroids," he mutters under his breath as he wanders away. And the Goliath looks up at you and he says, "Oh, you look powerful. Care to test your strength, Paladin?"
I nod in the sign of respect, and I'll walk over to.
Okay. He grabs a bag of gold and places it on the table. Looks like 15 gold pieces.
I'm assuming is this 300? I can't really see. Is this 300 that I have? Is that gold?
Yes. So it'd be 15
Yes,
gold
it's
for the bet.
all right. So I will place mine out as well.
Okay.
15 gold.
All right. You raise your arm ready to do this. I'm gonna have to make my rolls off the screen here because I didn't set up stat sheets for all this shit. But I'm gonna roll and I'll tell you what I roll. He rolls only a 10. So go ahead and make a strength check. Check, not save.
Oh, my bad.
Just right above strength on the left-hand side.
Yep.
There you go. Okay, you're even. You push together hard as the countdown goes. 3, 2, 1, go! There's no movement. Make another strength check. I roll an 18.
Oh, really?
Your hand begins to falter as you get very, very close to falling down. Make another strength check. I roll a 19. You're almost at the very, very edge. Make another strength check. You managed to come back a little bit, pushing up a little bit higher. Make another strength check. You're back in the middle. You've come back in this. Make another strength check. You falter a little bit more. He's pushing you down. You're getting really, really close to the edge of the table again. There's a dark energy that wells up from within you. You push him back to the center. You push him even closer. He's almost on the edge. You almost have him. After this dark energy wells up within you, your eyes begin to unnaturally glow with this black color. Fortunately, it doesn't seem like everybody else has noticed as you push his arm to the ground, and there's this sudden gasp from some of the nearby guards that this huge man has kind of lost the strength to kind of combat against you. You take your 15 gold plus an additional 15 gold off the table. And this large Goliath of a man is beginning to kind of fondle his wrists around, and he looks at you with a sudden surprise. And he goes, "That came out of nowhere."
I just kind of grab his coins and I kind of give him a nod, and I'm just gonna, I guess, walk away unless I've got anything more I can do here, because just as a sign of respect, kind of move on.
Okay, you grab his coins, nod, and silently begin to walk away. Tuck, you're beginning to walk in this general vicinity as you see Draxxan walk away from the arm wrestling table with a fresh 15 gold in hand.
Is there anything else going on around here?
You can see what looks to be some sort of dice game going on with what looks like some sort of priestess, as well as a guard standing next to some sort of archery range. Yes, you just add 15 gold to your total.
I'm going to go over to the dice game and have a look.
Okay.
Can I walk over there with him?
Sure. You meet up with him and you begin to walk over to the dice game in the midst of all of this. You can see as you wander, there's a dwarf who's dressed in heavy leathers who begins muttering in Dwarvish as he kind of wanders away. It seems to be angry that he's lost his gold. And the priestess looks up at you and she says, "You have a game, gentlemen?"
An explanation first, maybe.
She says, The game is called Timora's Favor. You take these dice, and she holds up 2d6s, and she says, and you place a flat bet. Your goal is to try to roll either a 7 or a 12. If you do not do it in the first roll, you can double your bet and add an additional d6 to the roll. There is a flat rate of 2 gold per bet, though you can do more if you wish to gain more gold. The second you bail out, it goes to the next player.
Does she actually say D6?
Sure, why not?
I'm not so sure.
How much gold would you like to place?
I'm still kind of curious if this is something that I want to take part in.
Yeah, I just
That's what she said.
No and walk away.
You're gonna walk
Checking
away?
up. Yeah, I'm gonna nod my head no and walk away and see what else is going on.
Yeah, I think I'm doing the same thing.
She simply shakes her head and goes, next. And you see another woman who looks like a priest begin to come up and place some gold in the game to begin to roll. There's the midst of this archery con.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I was going to kind of look over at the arm wrestling table and see if there's anything just going on over there. Not that I necessarily want to sit down and just kind of look.
The Goliath is again in the midst of taking down a couple of folks, but there are a couple of guards who are kind of looking around at this and talking amongst themselves. And they keep a kind of a weary eye on you.
Yep, that's what I kind of figured. So I'm just going to kind of keep an eye out. I guess I'm going to kind of watch those guards out of the corner of my eye, but try not to be so not to be so obvious that I'm kind of on.
Mm-hmm. So those are the three sort of contests that seem to be going on right here. Otherwise, there is a midst of there are a number of shops that are open. There are the different carts that are open. Now, I will add that as you're wandering about, you do manage to run into a familiar-looking woman, who you remember Tuck as Kalissa Urkel, who runs the Swinging Sword Inn in town, and she greets you warmly. Standing next to her is a gnome, and she says, "Oh, you're back in town for the festivities. And who is this?" And she points at your Dragonborn companion.
Gary.
He is Draxxan, a newfound fellow to our group.
She bows low, introduces herself as Kalissa Urkel, and she says, "And allow me to introduce a good friend of mine, Mr. Barty Sprocket." And the gnome kind of bows low, and he says, "Pleasure to meet you."
Pleasure to meet you both.
She says, "Now, Tuck, I understand that you're a big fan of drink. There's a contest going on tonight at the inn that I think you and your compatriots might be interested in.
Go on.
A drinking contest amongst adventurers. The champions from the last one are in town, and it's 10 gold per person for a total of a team of 5. If you win, you gain your winnings, you gain double your winnings, and you also gain 30% of the pot. There are a number of patrons who come to the inn and like to bet on potential winners."
I will let my compatriots know. I may just have them sit down and drink on my own.
She says, "Well, we try to introduce some of our strongest High Harvest-Tide drinks for this one. If nothing else, I'm sure that one way or the other you'll be flat on your ass and having a good night's rest." And she kind of gives you a nice wink.
Some people will be on their ass. Not me.
Bold claims.
I wink just back. I wink back at her.
Okay. She says, "If you excuse me, sir, I have much to prepare." And
Very well.
Barty who is a gnome dressed in a heavy coat and a straw hat that has a red ribbon tied around it, tips his hat to you, bows low one more time, and continues along his way along with Calissa. Now, after coming out of the constable, Bartholomew, yes, as you're coming out of the constable's office, kind of setting things in place, Kent, what are you doing?
I found Will yet?
You find Will in the midst of conversation with Sir Bradford.
I approach. Are they almost? Do I get the sense that they're almost done their conversation?
You think so? Sir Bradford hails you as you approach.
Hail, Sir Bradford. It is good to see you again, and in better condition than last we saw each other.
He says, "I think the snow is beginning to lift my spirits. Strange as that may seem."
Not at all. Not at all. I say to Will, Will, I'm going to go back to the. I'm going to go to the inn and take care of renting a room for the evening, or rooms for the evening. And then I just want to have a quick discussion with you if you have a moment.
Of course.
And I'll make my leave and head up that way.
Okay. You make your way into the Swinging Sword Inn. As you enter in, the inn is just as you remember it. Though there is some candlelight in here to kind of guard against the otherwise overcast snow-lit sky outside. You can see there's a number of patrons who are in the middle of a drink. You notice, by remembering this, that the actual imbibing of food or anything doesn't really take place within the inn itself. It takes place at a ramshackle two-story tavern of sorts just across the way called the Helmet High Sun. Although there's a sizable enough room in here that people like to kind of get drink and fall down and take a nap here.
Okay.
Right now, the inn is mostly empty. You can see what looks like a new maid in the midst of kind of cleaning all of this. It looks like a dark-skinned woman with long, flowing brown hair.
Human or
human?
Okay. Is the innkeep? I'll walk up there. Is the innkeep in?
She says. She looks up at you and she says, "I'm afraid she's getting some preparations done tonight for the drinking game."
Would it be possible to rent 6 rooms for the evening?
She says, "I can help you with that, sir. 6 rooms. Are you looking for 6 individual rooms for 6 rooms for individuals?"
Yes, ma'am. That I am.
She says, "For the holiday rate, that will cost you about 25 gold. For an overnight stay."
That will be fine, I think. And I will hand her the 25 gold.
Okay, she will take it, and she will hand you 6 keys.
Okay. And I'm going to wait in the common room for Will to arrive.
Okay. Miles, you're in the constable's room doing some math.
I leave. I don't think it's worth my time to buy any houses, but I do have some things I do want to do. How many inns would you say there's in town?
1.
Just one?
There's there one, and then there's a tavern across from
it. Are there people playing music in both?
If you wander into the inn itself, you can see Kent kind of just hanging out in the common room, practicing a few spells. Right now, there's nobody actively in the inn playing any music. In the tavern itself, it doesn't look like there's anybody actively playing music, but there's maybe a couple of old men who are already drunk, trying to start some sort of tavern song between the two of them. But it kind of just sounds bawdy, and for the most part, it's more less than a murmur. The only one who is in the middle of playing any sort of music seems to be Will, but he looks like he stopped.
Okay. If I do find anyone playing music, like a trooper or a traveling performer or something of the sort, I want to pay them to compose a song about the Diamond Bears, maybe one of our adventures, and then spread the word of our prowess. I don't know how much that would cost, but I'm sure it would be within the realm of my purse. And then all approvals need to go through Will, since he is the most.
I was going to say, wait a minute. You have a bard.
Yeah, but you're busy adventuring.
Whose job
they
is
need to
writing
spread the word
music.
of how great you are.
And you don't trust him to write our theme song?
100% trust you to do it. I just think that you're busy with other things.
Do I overhear him doing this? If
Well, I mean, I'm just like looking for someone, but yeah, sure, I can talk to. You can overhear us. Yeah.
oh, okay. Well, I make comment to you is I don't think it would be any great insult to our bard because all the best musicians always have songwriters because
Okay.
let's be fair, it's a little questionable sometimes as to the prowess.
I tell the group if they find anyone to send them to Will, and then Will, if you need to pay them whatever, I'll reimburse you.
Do I
They
look
get them
like
to
some
spread your soul.
auto-tuned pop star to you? I'm an artist.
I just want to spread the legend
write
of
all
what
my
the
own
Diamond
music.
Bears is.
Don't
I'm an
artists
artist.
don't artists rhyme.
Oh shit. Okay, I have like 3 other things I want to do real quick.
Sorry.
I want to go to the blacksmith
Mhm.
and see how much it would cost to silver my weapons.
He says that would require having silver.
So I need to provide the silver. He can't do that.
He says he's not exactly in the business of having silver on hand on demand.
Perfect. Great blacksmith. I love him. Can he? So
He says
pull
he
my-
looks around and he says,
Go ahead.
"Well, we're not exactly under attack by werewolves all the time now, are we?"
You're absolutely not, sir. I totally agree. I wonder though, can you do anything about my chainmail? While
Do
it
you
does.
want to be?
Good one. I say it does protect me quite well, but I'd like it if it looked a little more blingy. I am part of the Diamond Bears, and I was wondering how much it would cost to put a diamond bear on my chest piece, an emblem of our party.
He says, on the putting an emblem on the chest piece is fairly simple.
On my chain.
On the chainmail itself, that would only take about 2 hours. I could do that for 15 gold.
Done. I will. I'll take off my chainmail and give it to him, and I say I'll be back in 2 hours.
He says,
And, thank you, sir.
"Did you have anything in mind for the emblem itself that you want me to incorporate?"
Definitely a bear, and definitely something blingy looking. I mean, if I could pay extra to make it made of diamonds, but I definitely want it to I want it to stand out.
He says, "Blingy," and you see his son step forward, put a hand on his shoulder. He says, "Dad, I got this."
Remember last time? Yeah, I do remember. He's a blacksmith, not a miner. I just read that. I'll say thank you, and I'll be back for it in 2 hours, and then I'll leave him with the 15 gold, and I plan on tipping him when I get back, but we'll see how it looks. I also want to go to a tailor. I have my green cloak made of the living carpet, but it looks a little tattered and torn. I want to see if they can do anything about it. I want to keep the same green cloak, but see if they can make it look a little nicer, maybe some embroidery.
They ask what kind of embroidery are you after.
I mean, you're the experts in fashion. What do you think would be best? And I'll leave it.
Well, I think I'll just make do then if you're up for that. Yeah, we could repair this fairly easily.
If he sounds like that, I don't know.
Go, I got you.
All right, I'll leave it with him. Did he get? I'm sure for embroidery, it's not like a super large cost, so I'll just
He says
I trust you.
He'll tell you about 8 gold.
Okay, sounds good. And then I want to find a Fletcher and see if they can make my arrows any stronger. To either do more damage in a metagame sense, either do more damage or accuracy. I want to see if I can buy any arrows with that.
There's no Fletcher in town, but you can see amongst the stalls. In fact, next to Happy Bob's, there is an individual who is looks to be maybe some sort of hunter who is selling bows and arrows.
Okay, I'll approach him. See what his wares are.
As you approach, you can't help but notice he is also selling a couple of the crossbows, and it's actually a gnome, and he's got this big white mustache, twirly mustache, kind of in the center of his nose, but he's balding on top except for a little tuft of white hair. He's wearing what looks like engineer's goggles, and as he's in the midst of what looks like fixing some gears on one of these crossbow bolts, and he looks up at you and he says, how can I help you?
Hello, sir. I just wanted to look over your wares, and as I'm an adventurer, I come into trouble fairly often. I was wondering if you had any arrows that might help me in my my cause. I'm not looking for normal arrows, mind you, but
says, "Oh, I have all sorts of interesting arrows you can find. I have poison-tipped arrows. I have fiery-tipped arrows coated in oil. Lands on the target, boom!"
Oh, I like the way you think.
Makes for a great deer jerky.
How many? How much would a fire-tipped arrow be, or a poison-tipped arrow, for that matter?
Poison-tipped. Wouldn't go hunting with these unless you really don't want to do anything with it. I could sell you a poison-tipped arrow at 1 gold per arrow. I have a total of 10. And if you want the fire-tipped arrows, those are a little more deadly. You have to be very careful with them. And I could sell you those for 10 gold per arrow for a total of 10.
Yeah, I'll take them all.
Okay.
So, poison arrow.
5 gold times 20.
Yep.
100 gold. And 5 gold by 10 is 500 gold.
5 gold by 10 is how much?
Excuse me, 50.
Okay.
100.
What do you do for a job?
100.
Okay.
100. I do math for a living.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So how much do I owe this gnome? I'm sorry. I was laughing.
So 100 gold for the fire tipped.
Yep.
And I said 1 gold for a total of 20. So
Yep.
200 for nope.
Nope.
1 gold for 20 is 20.
It sure is. Yep. All right. 8.
I'm fucking crying.
Here we go. Okay. So how many of each arrow do I have right now? I have 10 poison, 10 fire.
No. 20 poison, 10 fire.
Okay, gotcha. 20 poison. Understood. Just so I know for when I use them, how much damage does a poison arrow do to someone as opposed to a normal hit?
So they make a con save, and if with a DC of 15, if they fail, they essentially have the poisoned effect, which doesn't do any effective damage. For the fire-tipped arrow, if it hits, they have to make a dexterity saving throw with a DC 15, and if they fail, they take an extra 1d4 fire damage and are on fire.
You said the poison was con, right? DC con
Yes.
15. Okay.
Yep.
And then poison.
I'll write it later.
I'm
Yep.
just making. Okay. All right.
Yes.
That's everything I wanted to do, and then I'll go back and pick up my stuff when it's done.
Okay. The cloak has been embroidered with something of a makeshift gold inlay, although you get the sense that maybe it's just golden colored, and it looks very well done. As for the emblem, you can see the sun hands it back to you. It's the image of a bear, and the eyes on the bear look like diamonds.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Perfect.
And there's also this really gaudy, blingy sort of golden ring around it.
Good. I tipped the sun an extra 5 gold on top of the 15 I paid.
No problem, bro.
All right. I'll head back to the inn and meet with everyone.
Okay. She'll meet back at the end after the course of the festivities.
Hey, Kelly.
Yes.
I gotta take a quick bio.
Sure. Are you really laughing at math that hard?
No, I'm laughing at the chat.
I'm talking about Kent.
Oh.
I was when he was like, "What do you do for a living?" I was holding it back, and I was just like, I literally had a tear come out of my eye. I was like, if we could see each other on webcams, everyone would be fucking laughing.
A specter looms behind you.
I'm sure.
The fire arrows, you said Dex 15 DC, and how much damage does it do if it hits? You told me
1d4 and the target's on fire, and they can repeat the saving throw at the end of the turn. And if they fail, they take another 1d4 fire.
Gotcha.
And like I said, I'll write that shit in once we come to a close.
No, you're fine. I was just taking notes. All right, I'm all good in town.
You will have to keep track of that ammo. So
Yes,
just
I
fire
am.
one. Okay.
I've been keeping track of the piercing arrows too, but I don't use those quite as often.
Right. Okay, so you meet back at the inn over the course of the day's festivities. As you do, they're getting things ready and kind of centering things around for this sort of contest. Alyssa will bring this contest up to you, and she says that the champions of the last the last drinking contest of High Harvest Tide is a group of adventurers known as the Fine Fellows of Daggerford, and she appreciates the help that you've been doing around the area, but she asks if you would at all be willing to join in as part of this contest, because nobody else has applied to go up against these guys just yet, and it really helps out her bottom line.
Kent is,
down.
Kent is actually going to decline because Kent remembers the last time he had food and drink here. Really, like, I mean,
I just remembered that.
so
she as you do you bring that up with her as you
no,
decline?
no, no. I'm telling you my reason for declining,
Okay,
but
okay.
that I'm declining.
Okay. She says she would like to have at least 5 people.
While they're making up their minds real fast, Killy, I'd like to pull Will to the side real fast, and say,
Okay.
Will, not for overall player equity, but take 2 of these gems, right?
They're
And
jewelry pieces, by the way.
jewelry pieces. Take 2 of these. Well, there are gems in them, I assume.
Yes.
I'm going to hand him 2 pieces of jewelry, and I'm going to say, if we come across anything that we can't that we need to afford on the spot, please use these in bartering.
Okay. He may be AFK. But
Will, no, I'm here. Will kind of look at you puzzled and say, why do you need to give them to me? Why can't you just offer them up if we need?
Kent, being a wise person, says, perhaps it is not good to have all of our eggs in one or all of my eggs in one basket. So please, for the good of the Diamond Bears, take 2 of these.
15 minutes.
Very well. Will take them. What are you handing him?
I'm handing him 2 pieces of jewelry that are worth 2,000 gold apiece.
Because I'm number 1. I just got it.
Hold on. I'm sorry, 2 pieces of jewelry worth what each?
2,000 gold apiece.
Okay, so noted. Not a problem. Under one condition.
Yes.
I need an apology.
For which part?
No, actually, it might not be you. Never mind. Someone said I couldn't rhyme, but I rhyme all the time.
It was him.
Was he around for that portion?
Yes, he was. He was
Okay.
there.
I thought he was doing it out of character. Oh, fine. You can rhyme all the time. You run DMC, I shall dub thee.
Wub wub. All right. What is your answer to this drinking game?
Yeah, I'm down to clown.
What about the rest of you?
Let's do it.
I do not think this game of drink will help to sink our chances.
All right. Tegan, what's your response?
But all the while, and in my style, I'll just keep all the dances.
I'll do it as long as he stops rhyming.
Okay. And I forgot to.
I'll play a tune, and very soon the moon will have us dancing.
And I'm sorry, I forgot. Tegan, is there anything you would like to do in the midst of all of these festivities?
Nope.
Cool.
I'm good.
All right. So, as you're all agreeing to this drinking game, she will add that for all of you to join in, it's 10 gold to join in as part of the game. So for a total of 10 gold each from you. And she will add that if you were to win, you gain your winnings back, and you also gain a total of 30% of the pot, depending on whatever's put in it.
Okay.
I'm in. You said it was 10 gold, I'm sorry?
10 gold.
Alright, I put in my 10 gold.
Put in
All
mine.
All right. You all individually fork over your 10 gold. Can't you abstain yourself? As as the remainder of the evening begins to come to a close and the time begins to approach, some of the shops begin to finish up their sales. There are a couple of last-minute deals that are going out across all of the stands. Is there anything else you would like to do in the middle of town, or would you like to wait until this drinking game begins to get on the way?
I'm good.
Yep. Let's go.
Okay. So, as the night begins to come to a close, patrons begin to crowd around the tavern. And you are ushered up onto a makeshift stage that's been built next to the actual tavern bar itself, as patrons begin to kind of crowd in. And as things begin to get underway, you watch as Barty, the gnome you were introduced to earlier, Tuck, hops on top of a bar stool. As he addresses the crowd, there are hushes that begin to kind of go into play. And he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for coming to the Helmet High Sun and the Swinging Sword Tavern establishments for your annual High Harvest Tide Games." And he bows low. There's some claps amongst the crowd as they begin to start the festivities. And he says, "And now, on to our favorite part of the game, where everybody gets blasted drunk and has a great time doing it." And there are a couple of bawdy laughs throughout the tavern. And he says, "We have two contesting parties for this evening's festivities. To my left," and he gestures to his left, you can see a party of gruff-looking adventuring types. He says, "Last year's champions, the fine fellows of Dragonborn." And there are a couple of whoops and hollers as they are introduced. You can see that the enemy party, quote unquote, is made up of two humans, a man and a woman. The man looks to be some sort of fighter. The woman looks to be some sort of priest. You can also see there's a half-elf that looks to be some sort of cleric. There is a dwarf who is dressed in rough leathers. He looks kind of shifty. And there's actually, amongst the rest of them, a tiefling in red robes who looks just kind of amused by this entire affair. And he says, "And to my right, we have the newest challengers in town. The Diamond Bears!" And a couple of whoofs and hollers go out as you're introduced, as people kind of get a good look at your party and kind of have a curious eye, some of them knowing who you are. And he says, "All right, ladies and gentlemen, begin to place your bets. Remember that any subsequent bets made after the first round are double. Entry fee is 5. Go ahead, go ahead." And you see a couple of patrons begin to come up. 5 gold on the Diamond Bears. 10 gold on the fine fellows of Daggerford. 25 on the Diamond Bears. And a couple of people are beginning to drop in piles of gold. And as the first round of bets begin to go up, Alyssa will step forward and she will say, Will the first contestants please step forward?" And she places 2 mugs of ale right down in the center of the tavern. You can see from the opposing team they sent forward what looks like the tiefling first. Among the 5 of you who have entered, who is starting?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I think Tuck should probably be our caboose, right?
All right. So as you approach, the gnome will introduce the 2 of you. I will ask you to introduce he will whisper to you for your names and begin to kind of introduce yourselves in a hyped up manner. The tiefling across from you he names as Irakir, who gives you sort of a mischievous looking smile as he begins to summon what looks like a mage hand and begins to get the drink ready towards his lips. And he says, "All right, combatants, get ready. 3, 2, 1, drink!" And he begins to chug it. Now, this is how the game works. In character, the first person to dribble, or begin to throw up, or otherwise pass out, loses. How that works in the dice is you and the opposing individual that you're up against are going to make opposing Constitution saving throws. The one who's lower gets 1 mark down. The first person to 3 marks down loses. If you ever roll a 20, if you ever crit, you gain a mark back, or a free mark if you already have, nothing. If you ever roll a 1, you pass out. You're out. Now, Tuck, because of your background, you have an extra pocket. It will take you 4 fails for you to get out. Everybody else, it takes 3.
Yep.
But someone on the opposing team also has that 4th pocket, and I'm not going to tell you who it is. So, as we begin the game, you begin to quaff your drink, Tegan. I would like you to go ahead and make a con saving throw.
I'm gonna also cast that on myself.
All right. Now, if you're going to cast guidance in the midst of all of this, you watch as the or you begin the somatic component, and the gnome kind of grabs your hand and he shakes his head. No.
Then the tiefling can't summon the mage hand.
Oh! He's
Are
like,
you saying this to him?
Yeah, say if I can't cast a spell, he can't use mage hand.
Okay. He'll roll his eyes and he'll look over at the mage and he says, "Iwakir, the hand, please." And the tiefling goes, "Oh, if you must." And he stops the mage hand, expertly catches his hand in expertly catches the drink in his hand and begins to quaff it himself. Now, as you begin to quaff your drinks posed opposite of one another, he begins to look a little sloshed. So you won the first round. Another set of drinks is put in front of you. Go ahead and make a second roll. Okay. This time, that second drink's starting to get to you. He rolls a 20.
Okay.
Another set of drinks is put down. You're feeling a little queasy. Go ahead and make another con save. Okay. This time, he's looking like he's kind of... He manages to finish up the last of his drink. He tips it over. There's no drops, but he belches very, very loudly. And you can hear in the back, "Don't throw it up, you stupid devil," from his teammates. Make another con save. Okay. He quaffs his drink. He hears another loud belch. You're starting to feel a little queasy now. You make your own very loud belch. He rolled a 13. You got 2 failures on each side. Last roll.
Okay.
He rolls a 20. You begin to cough your final drink, and it's just a little too much. There begins to be some dribble out of your face, and the halfling calls it, Iwakir is the winner on this one, I'm afraid. And you kind of stumble out of your chair. You're feeling pretty damn drunk.
Okay.
Next round, go ahead and stop placing your bets. There's a few more bets, this time doubles, going on the Fine Fellows of Daggerford, who's coming in as your second. One of you gotta pick.
Strategery.
I'll go. Sorry.
All right. Dr. Connor, as you approach the floor, they follow through. You can see what looks like the half-elven, the half-elven cleric is stepping forward. He steps forward with sort of a solemn, uncaring look on his face. He looks pretty stone cold, almost pretty much failing to acknowledge you. The gnome introduces the both of you. He introduces the half-elven cleric as Haleth, and as the drinks are placed down in front of you, he swoops down and grabs his without hesitation and just begins to quaff it like he's done this before. Go ahead and make your con save, Dr. Connors. Okay. He finishes quaffing his drink. You finish quaffing yours. You place yours down. No problem. You feel spry. The other guy lets out a pretty loud belch, but he's otherwise still managing. 1 failure on him. He only rolled a 5. Go ahead and make another save. All right, this time he rolls a 9. You quaff your second drink down. You place it on the floor. No drops. Dr. Connors, that second drink, just like it did to Tegan, is starting to get to you. It seems like that second drink's really the starting point. Go ahead and make another save. All right. 20 on his end. He finishes his down, puts it down. He's staying steady. You're starting to feel a little woozy. Nat 20 on his end.
Fuck that guy.
He quaffs his down, throws it across. He's like a practice drunk. And by the time you finish quaffing your fourth, you're just starting to burp, and there's a bit of spittle coming out, and it's called. The second round goes to Haleth. If the Fine Fellows win a third round, the game goes to them.
So we tag and tuck.
I'll go next.
Okay. As they send you in, they will send in what looks like the big human fighter looking guy who's dressed in chainmail, and he looks at you and he says, "Think you can hold your drink against me, old man?"
I take my glass and quaff it down.
Okay, you begin your quaffing before you're even introduced, not paying him any heed. He begins to kind of quickly grab his surprise and quaff his down. In the midst of all of this, the gnome quickly kind of trying to keep up as bets are being placed. He introduces the human as Rex the Hammer, and he introduces you, Friar Tuck. Go ahead and make your con save.
Nope. But he's still hang on.
All
For some
right,
reason I
just do
still
it
had
without
disadvantage from last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there.
Okay. You've both quaffed yours down. You think he's got the better hang of this first drink. He rolls a 16. Go ahead and make your other save.
Oh!
Now here's the irony. He also rolled a nat 1.
Nice.
So you both finish quaffing your drinks, and because his con save is lower, he'll pass out. And as soon as he downs that second drink, he just falls back flat on the floor. You feel really, really woozy, but you manage to put yours out and shake yourself off of the worst effects. So you're not knocked out. As Rex falls flat on his face on the floor, you hear the halfling call out Barty. And the third round goes to the Diamond Bears and Friar Tuck. And there's claps all around.
Ooh.
Dr. Connors drunkenly yells boo. And you still got 3 in the pocket. All right. For the fourth round, they send up what looks to be the priestess.
I'll step up if you guys don't mind.
All right. You're introduced to Draxxan, and to the left is Midna. Midna looks at you with kind of a knowing eye and begins to just kind of start quaffing her drink as she says, "Good luck, dragon." Go ahead and make your con save. She rolls an 18. All right. You manage to place yours down about a second before she does. She places hers down, and you hear the most manly belp you've ever heard from a tinsley-looking woman. Go ahead and make your second roll. All right, she rolled a 19. All right, you finish quaffing yours down a second time, a second before she does. She places hers down on the table, and she goes, "Another!" Make it a third save. All right, she rolls a 16. This time you're feeling a little woozy. She finishes her third drink, places it down. By the time you're only about halfway through yours, you place yours down. Fourth drink comes down. She rolls a 17. She finishes her fifth drink. She's feeling super woozy. At the same time, you're feeling super woozy, and you're starting to get there too. Final roll. She rolls a 7. As she begins to drink hers, it begins to start coming back up, and she starts coughing into it. You put a stop to yourself before you start coughing that, even though you think you could probably go more. And the fourth round goes to the Diamond Bears.
Woohoo!
Yep.
All right. And the fifth is Will, yes?
I guess reluctantly will make his way to the stage.
Okay. You are introduced. The dwarf makes his way forward. He's introduced as Copper. As you're brought forward,
Oh, sure, I get the dwarf. Great.
the final bets begin to go into place, and they're very high. And the dwarf goes, "Let's make this one a little more interesting, shall we, Mr. Bard?" And you see he pulls from his socket.
Oh, are you suddenly going to grow 3 feet?
He pulls from his socket a large, extremely large, glowing sapphire and places it on top of the gold pile. You estimate the value of that sapphire to be at least 1,000 gold.
Why do I get the feeling this guy's a ringer?
Why don't you strum your lute just a few times and give yourself a little inspiration?
Yeah, I was thinking that, but that's kind of cheating. Wouldn't it be cheating? I don't know. I'm not above cheating, I guess. I was actually, no. You know what I'm gonna do? Will quickly break into a quick rhyming song about well, what a gem. Will we beat them? He's so short, but he's kind of portly.
There's a body laughter throughout the audience. The dwarf's not having it. He goes,
So between the
put up or shut up, Bod. How do you say?
Put up or shut up or grow up. Bring. No, I'm trying to give him some jives and I want to do the cutting words. I want to set him up with a bad die and me with a good die.
Okay. Here's what I'll say then. As you set that up, you kind of throw him off balance. You'll have access to 1 cutting words.
Okay, and a die of inspiration for myself.
Bardic inspiration, sure.
All right. In case I need it, which
those 2 in the pocket.
Probably will. All right. So what do you need? A con save?
Con save as you quaff the drink.
Very good.
He rolls a 24.
Oh boy. Yeah, no, I'd have to roll an 8 on an 8-sided tie. So I'll take the L.
All right. The first one hits you a little harder than it hits him. He's feeling fine. By the way, I have to ask, are you matching his bet of 1,000?
Oh, I guess I kind of have to. Hold on, let me see what I got in my ledger here. 1,000, huh? You got... No, I don't have any gem. We just cashed out, so all I have are some lesser gems. I don't have anything that I can toss on the pile that would equal that.
There's that gem that Ken just gave you.
Yeah, but that's worth twice as much as what he's tossed up there.
Well, why don't you throw that and see if you can raise? He can raise his offer.
Well, because I'm not very confident I'm going to win this battle, but okay, that's fine. I'll just kind of shrug and reach into my pack and pull out one of the pieces of jewelry and display it to the crowd and go, oh, you looks like you're a little short there, my friend, and I'll toss that up on there.
I'll give you a second die of cutting words.
Excellent.
And he looks at that. He looks at his party members who are giving him kind of the stink eye, and you see he's eyeing that gem, that piece of jewelry very, very closely. And reluctantly, he pulls out a bag of 1,000 gold to match your bet.
Oh, very nice.
So, make another con save. He rolls a 17.
The die, no amount of die is going to matter there.
All right. The second one's starting to get to you. It looks like Will is starting to suffer on this one. Is there anything else the rest of you are doing while you're watching this going on?
I started playing the bagpipe.
I'm just kind of shaking my head in disbelief.
What about you?
Because I'm new, so he's the I'm used to all these other guys have kind of held their own more or less.
John, we're gonna check out the tree, fire out, all right?
Kent would just kind of like to look, kind of just keep his eyes around the room, because even though we were assured that there would be no cheating, we're just gonna, just keep an eye out and see if there is no cheating going on.
Make a perception check.
Yeah, because they've been rolling awfully well.
He is a dwarf. Perception. Oh, what the fuck?
You don't notice shit.
Yeah, I know. I don't know when I put that on.
Can I do the same thing? Being an outsider, I may have a little better.
Go for it.
I doubt it though. We'll give it a try. Oh.
You're peering around the rest of the tavern. Most of the revelry seems to be focused on the drinking game, but as you peer out the window, you swear you can catch, for a brief glance, some animalistic eyes before they fade in the snow.
Would it be too much for me to kind of go out and?
You're too drunk.
Okay. Do I care to let my companions that aren't currently drinking at the moment in the game, so whoever's standing around me, let them know what I saw, or is this just something I?
Draxxan will point out that he saw something that looks like an animal, or something animalistic eyes over at the window to Kent. You look in that same direction, you don't see anything. And he slurs his words as he says this.
Mayhaps you had too much to drink?
Possibly. I'll say possibly, but I'm also skeptical. Still thinking. I'm still going to believe that I saw.
Kelly, would
All
you
right.
say like the window on the main street? If he window on the main street? Because I don't know how the layout of the place.
Yep. It would be the window peering out onto the main street that cuts through the town.
Kent will slightly take him at his word and just kind of mosey on over to that window and just take a look outside.
Okay. As you peer outside, you notice that the snow has gotten a little bit heavier as the sky has begun to darken. You can make out a little bit of it in the candlelight that makes up the tavern, and frost is beginning to form on the edges of the tile that makes the glass tile that makes up this tavern. So I was burping. I didn't want to go through the mic.
No, it's okay.
So anyway, so you peer out. The snow is falling a little bit harder. Looking around, you don't see these animal eyes he's talking about. Now, in the midst of all of this, Will, you're feeling super queasy. This dwarf looks like he can keep going. Go ahead and make another con save. This time he only rolls a 10. However, you cannot hold your drink. This is too strong. You watch in disbelief as Will begins to go down and collapse against the
Wait,
floor.
I'm sorry. I was talking into my mute button. He rolled a what?
A 10.
Oh, I'll use the cutting
What's
words
that,
on
Joe?
him, and I'll use my bardic inspiration on me.
Okay,
You
go for
you could close that distance.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the cutting words on him. All right, so he's got a 3.
Okay.
And then the bardic inspiration on me.
Okay.
And I've got a 9.
The cutting words, the short jokes seem to have shaken him, and this time around you managed to stabilize the drink. It looks like he's starting to get a little queasy.
Awesome.
All right.
I may have one more round in me. Come on now. Good roll here.
14.
Yay!
Right. You've managed to find your footing, and you've stabilized your drink. He's starting to look a little woozy. He burps loudly.
And just like that, it's all tied up. You got this!
It is snowing pretty heavy, yes, Kent.
Well, if it was snowing pretty heavy, and I truly don't know that I believe Draxxan necessarily, other than what he drunkenly said he saw. Do I see any tracks if it's heavy snow?
With that perception check earlier, no.
Well, I wasn't at the window earlier.
You want to make another perception check? You can make another perception check.
All right.
If there are any tracks outside, they're muddied by human tracks.
Okay.
All right.
Would it be any use for me to walk over there and take a look since I'm the one that saw?
It's peering out the window. You can make a perception check if you want. You can't see it. All you see are human footprints.
I lean over to say to Draxxan, look, man, I know we just met, and I'm not calling you a liar. I don't see shit out there. And I proceed to go back to my little bench in the corner.
All right. Will, make another con save.
Come on, baby. Good roll.
Okay. He rolls a 13.
Oh, yes.
However, he's also the guy with the extra pull. He's starting to belch really, really loudly, but he barely manages to hold it in. One last roll.
Come on.
Cheering him on.
12.
Yes!
Oh, yeah, baby.
He starts to cough heavily, and the brew begins to come out. And the gnome calls that there are whoofs and shouts and laughter as the contest finishes up. And the dwarf begins cursing heavily. And this year's winners go to I'm doing the dwarf's voice. The Diamond Bears! And there are whoops and hollers and cheers as everybody at this final tense round manages to come together.
Yay.
And the fine fellows of Daggerford practically ignore you. They're drunkenly kind of yelling slurs at one another, and they're not happy.
Kent would like to walk up and buy those guys around.
Yeah, we'll walk over with him and say, my friends, your quarrels were with us, not with each other. Come, let us celebrate the occasion. This is only a contest.
The dwarf tries to punch you in the gut.
I palm his forehead and hold him at bay.
Which is easily done because he only rolls a 4 on his strength attack. So he tries to punch you, you just kind of grab it by the hand, completely still within your senses, and he just is like flailing like a little child. Get out of my face, you ragged son of a bitch!
Come on. Come on, I'll write a song about you. I'll call it The Short, Fat, Ugly Dwarf.
He tries to punch you again.
Didn't we win some money off of this bet?
Yeah, I'll step in.
He only rolls a 12, which you manage to easily deflect.
I let him as he's like trying to run at me while I have my hand on his forehead. I'll just step aside and let him go and let him run into the wall.
I'll say, somebody find the constable!
He runs clear into the wall. Bang! There's the chandelier that kind of shakes a little bit, and he just knocks himself out cold, and Calista just shakes her head. But as you gather around, she begins to go through and count the coin, and you get your 50 gold back between the two of you between those of you who got your 10 gold a pop. You gain additional 10 gold on top of that for your double winnings, and the total of the pot, including the 2,000 bet, came out to be about 9,000 gold. And you get you get the double 2,000 gold from the gem, so you get 2,000 gold gem worth, and the remaining pot was 5,000 gold, which you get 30% of.
So how much do we all win there individually?
So 30% of the 5,000 gold pot. Whoops.
How much? 30% of 5,000?
1,500.
Yeah, it's 1,500.
By 5, that's 300 gold a person.
Yep, so you get the 2,000 gold with sapphire, very large sapphire that's glowing, as well as 1,500 extra gold. And then on top of that, you also get, for those of you who bet, an additional 10 gold, as well as your 10 gold back that you bet in.
So 310 plus the sapphire that you can mark down in your sheet and split up later.
I put the sapphire into the party treasure.
Sure.
If you want to put the 310 on your own sheets, you can do that.
Is it 310 or 320? You said 10 plus 10, right?
Well,
So,
I thought it was
we
300
just get
plus
back
10.
the 10 we bet before, but we get 10 more because we won.
Right.
So it's 320.
Right. So if I subtract it, then it's 320.
Yeah, if you subtracted it before, it's 320, sir.
With that portion of the festivities, Kent's going to go upstairs to his room, and in the morning, I gather we are going to make our plans as to what we're doing next.
Yeah, we should probably head out in the morning, I would imagine, assuming I'm not super hungover.
okay. Do all you make your ways to your rooms then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Reluctantly, because I still have those eyes in the window in the back of my mind, but I will head to bed.
Will's not going to bed. If the party's still going on, he's in the common room partying with everyone else, and he'll get the music going. He'll do his music, and we'll make it now that it's nighttime and late, and all the kids are in bed. We'll make it a little rowdier, a little raunchier.
What'd you say, Krell?
I was gonna say, since we're sleeping, I want to switch out spells.
Yeah, you can do that.
Perfect.
I'm drunker than a skunk right now after that drinking game, so I'm going.
Okay. All right. So, Will, you stay up here, kind of make the chamber a little more bawdy and a little more festive in the midst of all of this as people begin to finish their drink, finish up their bets. Some of them are cursing at their losses. There's more than a few of them that are happy with their success, having stuck with what appeared to be the underdog for so long, even at the very end. And as the festivities wrap up, is there anything else you in particular, Will, are trying to do?
Yeah. Any pretty maidens about on the after party? Try to lure one of those into my room.
I'll tell you what. Go ahead and just make a persuasion check.
Good night, baby.
Sorry.
Her name is
No,
Emily.
let me have that. Yeah, don't take that. Thank you.
Okay.
Ooh, can I get two maidens?
Oh my God, we're outside naked for you.
Sure, why not? After a particularly bawdy and festive time, you manage to find a few charming women who are feeling just tipsy enough and just interested enough in your strange debonair charm.
Works for me.
All right. So, some of you go off to rest, some of you go off to a much better rest. Now, as the night dawns on, Tegan, over the course of your rest, you managed to finish the rest, but over the course of your rest, you are assaulted by dark visions. You see the world become encapsulated in snow, a blinding, freezing winter, and you see a fey woman, her face shrouded in shadow, looking upon the entirety. It seems to be appearing to look at the entirety of the world, as it is covered in darkness and snow.
Okay.
And as you wake up, you look down and your hands are glowing. Your night is fairly fairly troubled. As you wander around the room,
Is it glowing the same color it did before? The last time I had
that same golden color.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, as if you were getting ready to cast Eldritch Blast.
Yep. Okay.
And as you peer out the window, the snow is falling heavily. It almost looks like a winter storm outside. And in the midst of all of this, you can see, peering back at you, with yellow glowing eyes, is what looks like a white wolf, just staring up at you from outside. And it takes a few steps back as you look back at it into the winter snow.
Okay. I would assume the effects of the alcohol have worn off now, right?
For you, yes.
Okay. Well, I will head downstairs and attempt to follow it.
Okay. You grab your coats and your belongings and you begin to get dressed out of your nightgown. As you begin to wander downstairs, the place has become dead quiet. Most of the patrons are drunkenly asleep. You sidestep them out into the winter cold. There is something of a blizzard going on, but in the midst of all of this, you look around. Go ahead and make a survival check.
Okay.
In the midst of all of this snow, you can see clear wolf prints leading to the north of town.
Okay.
Excuse me, not north. West.
West. Okay.
Yes.
I will. You know what? I'm gonna make this a little bit more interesting.
And
So
the snow is falling. It seems like it's more heading in this direction. And the snow is falling very, very heavily.
How about
It is
this
very
direction?
cold. Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm going to use that. Turn myself into a wolf so I could follow the tracks a little bit better.
Okay. As you shift yourself into a wolf, your eyes beginning to get a sense of your surroundings. In the midst of this dreary cold, the natural fur that makes up your wolven form begins to begins to allow yourself to better adjust to the cold, and you begin to follow the tracks onward.
Okay.
As you follow the tracks north and then westward into this outcropping on the northern end of town that seems to sink down into what looks like might be a natural sort of what might have been a lake once here that has long since dried up. It is now covered in quite a bit of snow, and it's slippery in some parts. You think there might be ice. As you wander around, it seems like the tracks just begin to circle around you.
Okay.
And I would like you to make a perception check. Okay. Bear with me a moment.
Legolas, what do your elf eyes see?
So your companions are not here. As you peer out into the darkness, you fail to see as a large white wolf charges forth from the darkness and begins to blast you. And I need to get your form on here. I need to get a wolf form on here. There. You're the wolf.
Okay.
And add this so you can see it. This is crew save. And we'll drag this up so that you have access to it. You had never turned into a wolf before, so I have to set it up.
No, I only did it because that's what you chose.
Okay. So, you fail to notice this large, extremely large white barreling out from the snow, and it attempts to blast you with what looks like a cold, snowy breath. With that wolf, you need to make a dex save. Okay. It blasts your wolf form away as you're pelted with this harsh cold, and 11 points of damage is transferred onto your human form.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll an initiative. And as it finishes blasting you, it disappears into the nearby cold and snow. You can't see it anymore. All right. You're up first. You get blasted by this cold energy.
Okay.
And this wolf has disappeared back into the snow around you.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I am first going to cast. Let's see. You know what? Let's have this a little bit more fun. Let's do animals level 5. And for this, I am going to want 4 tigers.
Okay. In the midst of this cold, you conjure 4 beasts whose natural climate. 4 tigers? Okay. You conjure 4 beasts whose natural climate is not quite as cold. However, they have tough. They have a tough being about them. And you can place them where you want, and you can roll initiative for them.
Yep. Oh, messed up because I had myself select. You might want to fix my initiative back to 13.
Okay, 20 for the tigers. All right. Are you doing anything else in the midst of all this?
Yep. Just a sec. Put them where I want them.
You surround yourself with tigers.
Yep.
All
He
right.
can't necessarily surprise me again. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use Shillelagh to power up my staff.
All right. From out of the snow, the wolf charges in. This one at your northernmost tiger. And as he moves in, he is going to attempt to bite against it. 17 is going to hit it. I need it to make a strength save. It falls prone. As
Okay.
it falls prone, the wolf retreats back into the cold.
Okay.
The tigers go next.
All right. Since they kind of know the direction they want, I'm going to move the tigers to one to here. This is the one that's prone, right? Can you
The northernmost one is the one that's prone.
that one,
yes.
right? Okay. And then this one is going to move to about here.
Okay.
And this one's going to move to about there.
Okay. In the midst of all of that, I go ahead and make a perception check collectively for the tigers.
Is that oh, there we go.
They can't find the wolf in the snow.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if they can't find it, there's nothing for them to do. So they just moved and kind of got set up.
All right. Tegan, what are you doing?
I am going to do is I am going to cast invisibility on myself.
Okay. You pull out Wiggum's wand and you quickly turn yourself invisible in the midst of all of this. All right. Are you moving at all?
Yeah, I'm gonna move here.
All right. The wolf, moving out from the snow, is going to bite the southernmost tiger. Make a strength saving throw for that one.
Okay.
Okay. Now that one is not knocked prone. However, the wolf is going to try to retreat back into the snow. That tiger can make an attack of opportunity if it wishes.
And it will.
Okay. It manages to land a bite off onto this large wolf before it retreats back into the snow. The tigers are up next.
Okay. This one is going to use half its movement to stand back up if it can. So it was knocked prone. And then what was its move? Tires. 40, so they can. He's gonna move to up there.
All right.
And this other tiger is going to move here. And this other tiger is going to move here. This other tiger is going to sit right about there.
All right. Tegan, what are you up to?
I am going to. Let's see. So, go ahead and cast that.
All right. All right. You cast 3 illusory duplicates of yourself. And is that concentration?
It doesn't look like it. Not off of that description.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Nope, that's why I chose it.
All right. All right. While invisible, you conjure duplicates of yourself.
All right.
Are you moving at all?
I'm not actually. If he casts the spell, doesn't that actually fuck up the invisibility?
Not so long as not if he doesn't cast an attack.
Okay.
I'm going to move. Let's see, that was 50. I'm going to move to there.
Okay. All right. So you're not invisible. So you are invisible, but your duplicates are not.
Correct.
The jumping out from the snow is the wolf.
Okay.
He's going to attempt to attack the duplicates at least,
Okay.
and he's going to successfully bite against one of the duplicates as he kind of jumps through them.
Okay.
That being said, so of the 3 duplicates, one of them goes down, and
All right.
then he is going to attempt to retreat. If you want, you can make an attack of opportunity against him, but that will break your stealth.
No, I'm not gonna do that yet.
He retreats into the snow.
Okay.
The tigers go next.
All right. None of them are prone, I don't think, anymore. So one's gonna
No.
move to here. One's gonna move to here. And this other one's gonna set up right about there. This one's gonna move down some.
Okay. Make a perception check for your tigers again.
Okay.
All right. They can't find the wolf.
Okay.
Tegan, you're up.
All right. I am going to hold an action. And the action I'm going to hold is this.
All right. All right. Are you moving at all?
I'm just gonna move up here.
Okay. Coming out from the winter, the wolf again bites against one of your duplicates. This time, the duplicate is missed, and the wolf begins to retreat. Are you using your held action or going to try to use your held action?
Yes, I do.
Okay. As you attempt to cast that effect, it seems like it doesn't have an effect on this particular creature. You get the sense that this is no mere wolf.
Okay.
The tigers are up next.
Let's see. Move him here. Move here. Move that one there. And we'll move him.
Okay. Go ahead and make another perception check for the tigers. Nope, still can't find the wolf. Tegan.
Alright.
When casting animal friendship, you are no longer invisible.
Yeah. Figured as much. I am going to that's fun. One second, I need to use that. You know what? I am going to cast Eldritch Blast kind of in this direction.
What direction? Oh, that direction? Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead and make an attack roll.
Okay. Here's the second one.
Okay. The spell seems like it goes off without a hitch, but it doesn't seem like it hits anything.
Okay.
All right. From behind you, the wolf attacks. And it's going to attempt to bite you, but it does not land. It moves to retreat again into the snow. Do you make an attack of opportunity?
I do this time.
Okay.
Sure, we get the right one.
All right. You, having transformed the staff, managed to slice deep into its leg. It looks like it bleeds blue.
Bleeds blue. It's a Vulcan.
And it retreats back into the snow.
Vulcans bled green, I thought.
Romulanson or something. Okay.
No, Romulans bleed green too, pretty sure.
The tiger are up.
Fine, be that way. Well, I kind of know he went that way. To command my tigers to go this direction.
Okay. Make another perception check for the tigers then. Okay. This time, your tigers managed to close in on its general location, and they see the wolf hanging out in the fringes as the tigers begin to move in.
About time. Okay, so this one's going to attack it, obviously. A bite.
Mm-hmm. Miss.
Sworn feet. So actually, I already moved him once. Wherever I moved him from.
Yeah, but you didn't use all your movement on them, did you?
No, they have 40. I don't know if I used more. I don't remember. I actually moved him. So that was about where he was. That's 25. I get to about there. You know what? I know this one hasn't used all of it. So he's going to actually move here and to attack him.
Okay. Make your attacks. All right, 19 will land.
And that one, since he moved 20 feet, is an attempt to pounce of a DC 13 strength save.
Okay. Didn't have many advantage, but we'll count to 20. He beats it.
Doesn't matter. And then the other ones are going to kind of just move in that general direction as far as I could get them. I don't think they can actually make it to them yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think I moved too far, so that's about it.
Okay. Tegan, what are you doing?
Me, on the other hand, I am going to hit him with that.
Ooh. Okay.
What the hell is that?
He
Oh,
fails the
blight.
con save. Your eyes go from that natural golden color to they're still golden, but there's a blackness around them. As you stretch out your transforms shillelagh and shillelagh scimitar, and begin to watch as black tendrils begin to leap off the tip of the spear, the tip of the blade, and begin to swarm around this creature and draining it.
All right.
And
And
he's looking pretty hurt at this point.
then as a bonus action, just going to burn a couple of my Fey energy dice for Balm of the Summer Court for myself.
All right. Okay. On the wolf's turn, he's going to go ahead and do whatever you're doing. On the wolf's turn, he's going to disengage as an action and begin to retreat into the snow.
Okay.
The tigers are next.
He disengaged and retreated in the snow. Well, let's just play the movement game, I guess. Let's move him over here. See if that does anything. We'll move him kind of this way. Him here. Try to keep it within 10.
Okay.
And see if that does anything.
All right. Go ahead and make another perception check.
Okay.
I didn't mean to do that twice. Don't know why I did. No, they don't see him.
My perception at 19?
They
Oh,
got
okay.
22.
Okay, yeah, 20. Okay, never mind. I saw.
Tegan.
Okay. I'm just going to what do I do here? You know what? I am going to Thorn Whip, maybe. So that's a good idea. Let's Thorn Whip this direction.
All right. cast your Thorn Whip out, get it out as far as you can, and kind of try to swish it around. It doesn't seem to hit anything.
Okay.
From out of the middle of the snow, you are again blasted, as are two northernmost tigers, with a breath of cold air. I need you to make another dex saving throw for your two northernmost tigers and for yourself.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna do. There's 1, 2.
Okay. They both take only 10 points of damage.
You said dex save.
Yep. Okay. You take the full 21, and I need you to make a con save. Okay. Alright, you still have your tigers out.
All right.
And
And do I get a sense of which direction that blast came from? Since you said it hit these two, right?
it seems like it came from this general vicinity. Whether
Okay.
or not he's... Yeah.
Still there. Yeah. Okay. So these tigers being completely upset are move here, here. This one's there, here.
Okay. Make another perception check. Alright, I can't see him. Now, Tegan, at the start of your turn, it is dark, and the wind is blowing, and it is very cold. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Okay, you're resisting the worst of this blizzard.
Okay. Back to trying to do here. Okay. Let's do. I am going to cast Eldritch Blast in this direction.
Alright, make your attack rolls. Okay. You do hear, you can't see it, but you do hear one yelp.
Okay. Then I am going to. You know what? Since that was a trick, what I'm going to do. This is good. I'm going to cast this on top of me.
Okay, that's concentration, so if you cast that,
Oh.
you're gonna lose the tigers.
Well, I already said I'm going to do it. Let's just do it.
Alright. Okay, so you drop concentration on the tigers as they fade back into the astral plane, and you conjure. I can draw a shape. And you conjure the healing spirit on top of yourself. Go ahead and restore 4 whole life points to yourself if you wish.
All right.
Alright. Are you doing anything else?
No, I'm gonna stand there.
Okay. From the snow, the wolf charges at you again.
Okay.
And he's going to attempt to bite you. 25. Make a strength save. Alright. Now, I do believe, forgive me, I do believe you do have one mirror image left, so let me make sure of that. So, with one left, I have to roll a d20. Alright, so the attack actually lands on the last duplicate.
Okay.
And the last of your duplicates goes down, so you don't take that 16 points.
Okay.
And you don't have to worry about falling prone because it lands on a duplicate instead. And you hear, in perfect common under the wolf's breath, him utter, "Queen spawn," and he retreats back into the snow.
I won't even pretend I understood what you just said.
Queen's pawn.
Okay.
On Golden Pond. What?
It's your turn, Tegan.
Yep. What I am going to do is I am going to first take healing spirit now doesn't seem like it's all that good of an idea. Let's do this. I'm gonna move to here. Okay. And I am going to shoot Eldritch Blast. Kind of that direction.
Alright, make an attack roll. The blasts go off without a hitch, but it doesn't seem like it hits anything.
Okay. Then as a bonus action, I'm gonna move the healing spirit back on top of me.
Okay. Go ahead and heal yourself if you wish.
I gotta remember what the spirit was. It's 24, right?
I believe.
If you just click the healing spirit ability in your spell book, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Give yourself 6 hit points. The wolf.
Did you give it to me, or yeah, you
I did not. I'm not taking care of your hit points.
Okay. All right.
At least not the pluses.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Starting out of the snow, the wolf makes another pass at you. This time missing entirely. He's going to attempt to retreat into the snow. You can make an attack of opportunity if you wish.
Okay.
Okay. You hit him hard against the left side of his leg, and he begins to retreat into the snow.
All right. Let's see. I am going to kind of move this direction.
Make a perception check as you do.
Okay.
In the midst of the snow, there's a trail of blood leading south.
South from where I am here?
Yes.
Okay. And then what I will do then is, you know what? I'll shoot Eldritch Blast south then.
Okay. The blast hits and you hear a final cry of intense pain. The snow begins to abate, and you begin to get a better sense of the surrounding area. You see this large wolf. It looks up at you with its dying breath, and he cries in a muttered agony. Winter, Queen, take you. It hurts to do that. And he dies. So there's your level, big guy.
Yay!
Well done.
All right.
Well done. Bravo.
Oops, wrong page. You awaken in the morning, feeling fully refreshed. Will, you're covered in 2 naked women.
Just simply covered in
Oh,
them.
yeah. Bits and pieces of naked. No, I'm kidding. That's great. Loving it. Sleeping in today, my darlings. Maybe we could send someone for some tea.
And then a giant crab ravishes the town. I didn't mean to do that.
All right. The dawn comes. Tegan, you have gone through that entire affair. You are cold. You spend a little bit more time sleeping in. You can give yourselves the benefits of a full rest if you wish.
Ooh, excellent.
The remainder of your companions are kind of waiting out for you in the midst of all of this. There are still some festivities going on in the midst of all of this. The drinking contest is done, and the better part of the festivities seems to have died down outside of town, but it seems like they're still doing some of the contests, and they're still selling some of their wares. Alternatively, Sir Bradford will meet up with the rest of you, thank you for swinging by, and ask you what your plans are moving forward.
I asked Sir Bradford if he has anyone that I could hire as a squire. Someone to just follow me around, cook my meals, clean my armor during downtimes.
Sir Bradford will think for a minute, and he'll say, I don't know that sending a squire down with you into wherever it is you're going would be wise.
Well, a good warrior needs a squire.
Good job not letting the money change you, dude.
I
think I need a squire.
What young man wouldn't want the honors of traveling with me?
I will remind
money.
Mr. Connors that he probably needs to find a graveyard, I think, still.
Yeah, probably.
Probably be a good idea.
And Sir Bradford will say, speaking of graveyards, how was the service for both the Boyansé and Sir Bradford and Sir Brock?
Boyansé has been buried on a hill, and her grave has been marked, and it was a good service. Some people talked, and as far as Sir Eddie Brock, his body was stolen in the middle of the night by a night hag. We did track her down and slay the witch, but his body has not been recovered, and no funeral rites have been performed.
He says, he looks disturbed by this, and he says, did you find anything at the witch's enclave?
Bits and pieces of his clothes, pointing out that he'd been there recently, but no, we did not find his body, nor any piece of it.
Witches are not known to simply abscond with the bodies, unless they tend to cook them into a stew or something.
Uh-oh. Was that stew his body? Was it body stew?
You never investigated the stew.
We didn't.
Actually, one of us did.
I thought we did when we first walked in, but we didn't
You never identified it close enough to recognize whether or not there was anything in there.
Okay. No, I understand that. I'm just saying.
All right. Well,
he also says, and witches aren't known to typically take bodies that are already dead.
Well, sadly, we'll never know, since we'll never have to deal with those hags ever again. Am I right, guys?
Uh-huh.
Anyways, if you can't think of a squire that I could hire, then I'd be a liar if I didn't say we didn't need to get going. So let's be on our way.
I'm going to say to the guys, so it's back to the temple then. And say to Draxxan, I don't know if what you're seeking is where we're headed, but you can feel free to tag along, I guess.
So I kind of, try to sneakily take a look at my ring since it's still on my finger and see if it's showing me anything. If maybe I point it, try to kind of by my side, kind of move around, kind of see if it's pointing in any direction. If it lights up, if I go north, east, south, west, see if it tells me anything.
It lights up towards the northeast, and it's not really changed from its glow as much as it has since yesterday.
Okay, so is this place they're wanting to travel to the northeast?
Do you ask him?
Is this temple you speak of? Is it towards the northeast?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Where's it on the map?
So there's Red Larch right there.
Yep.
And
the names aren't planted.
I'm saying I can't see that. Is the temple not marked?
it would be. I would assume we would be going in the same entrance we went in originally. since that's the closest.
Feathergale Spire is the
Close enough.
I have some memory of thinking we needed to go to the fire temple first to do something, but I don't remember why. I just
As you
remember
mention,
we needed to go back there first thing.
as you mention, Feathergale Spire, Sir Bradford will pipe up and he says, "Oh, forgive me, I almost forgot. Sir Dr. Connors, I believe a message came in for you."
Oh, awesome.
And he hands you a small package.
But up.
I put my ear to it. Does it sound like it's ticking?
No.
Okay, then I'll open the package. What do I got?
Okay. So as you open the package and pull it out, there is a letter inside as well as a figure. The letter, which I didn't have time to type out, reads something along the lines that Dr. Tumez has partnered with the Knights of the Summit Hall, the Paladins of Summit Hall, in order to begin regular patrol watches around the Sumber Hills, and has begun working on crafting a new kind of bound wingsuit or bound wings in order to help ease the means of travel for the knights to kind of keep an eye out of the valley itself and to keep an eye out for things, and has shared that the burning of Wamford has kind of spooked a lot of nearby settlements. And he also mentions that he is in the process of some alchemical work and has begun to work on trying to find a better binding agent to create a stronger wingsuit that allows one to fly more than glide across the valley and be entirely dependent upon an updraft of wind. With especially big snowfall and a downpour lately, it's been a major pain. He'll share that he's gotten a hold of a particularly skilled mage and alchemist from Silvery Moon, who has begun to travel her way down to the spire itself, and he has not arrived there yet, but he has heard that she is quite brilliant. And within the package itself, he has given you what looks like a jade figurine carved in the image of an
Image of a what? Sorry.
Eagle.
eagle.
Eagle. Thank
And
you.
on the back of the note is the phrase "Excelsior."
I'll hold the figurine in my hand and I'll exclaim Excelsior.
As soon as you hold the figurine in your hand outstretched, you cry out "Excelsior," and there is a flash of green magic within your hand, and moving upon your hand and resting upon your arm is an eagle.
Yay! Hello, little eagle friend. Is it like messenger? Okay, so what? Why would he send me an eagle? Is it like a companion? Does it fight? Is it meant for messages? What can you do, little guy? Jesus Christ! All right, I'll play charades with the eagle. Try to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Pictionary.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I'll use my my primeval awareness, and I'll communicate with the beast. Try to recognize it. It recognizes me as a kindred spirit, and then through sounds and gestures, we can communicate simple ideas.
Okay. So, give me just a second.
Sure.
The letter might not have had a card, but I bet the eagle does.
Yeah, it's the base in the DM's guide isn't actually an owl, but this is going to be an eagle. So I just have to
Eagle.
hang on. Okay. So that's the figurine. And it's not serpentine, it's jade, damn it. There we go.
You wondrous raven. This serpentine statuette of
Yeah,
a
I just fixed it.
this jade statuette of an owl can become an eagle for up to 8 hours.
There.
But-
Jade statuette eagle can become an eagle for up to 8 hours. Once it's been used, can't be used again for until 2 days. It can telepathically communicate. I have to fix that too. The eagle.
I'll think my thoughts
tell
to it
by-
and be like, "You're a very pretty bird." I'll say it in my mind.
It says, well, golly.
Jesus Christ. All right, my friend. What should I call you?
Excelsior.
Oh, got it. I didn't realize that was your name. I thought maybe that was an incantation. But I understand now. Well, Excelsior. My name is Kurt Connors, and I think we're gonna get along just great together.
Pleasure to meet you.
So friends, Diamond Bears, where are we headed? Should we head to the Gale and the Spire and meet with Mr. Toombs? Do we head towards the temple and try to clear that out and finish our quest there? Do we kill some boars? What do we need to do?
So as long as I get the feeling that where they're going is in the general vicinity my ring is telling me, I will go with.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll suggest we visit the Gale. Just if they have better gear that might help us when we do go to the temple, I think it'd be worthwhile to make the stop now.
I agree. Well, Excelsior, we're headed towards the Gale, right back to where you came from. If you want to scout ahead for us, and if you see any flying beasts, you should turn around, or you should telepathically tell me, and we'll just follow you to the Spire on our magic carpet. How's that sound?
I'll let you know you're coming.
Jesus Christ! All right, let's go.
Nope.
Nothing there.
Not the sharpest beak on the branch, I guess.
Okay, so as you begin to pack your belongings, you begin to make your way back out to Feathergale Spire.
Mhm.
And I think we'll end it here, guys.
Okay.
Nope.
Alrighty.
So Tegan, you gain a level.